Hi, beautiful people. Reverend Teresa Garcia, and today I want to talk to you about what to do if you feel like you are at ground zero and you are calling in a higher vibrational life. Now, what do I mean by ground zero? I mean, you probably have debt, you probably are experiencing extreme scarcity financially. Um, Maybe you do or don't have many good friends, uh, but life maybe feels really hard for you. And what I want to tell you is, I've been here so many times before. And for me, it always felt like ground zero because I told myself that I had no friends. And the reality is when we are at ground zero in or beneath the belt, uh, financially, then what happens is we're in scarcity mode, so we're only using a percentage of our brain. And so the number one thing that I want to impress on you to do is writing out your gratitude. I am grateful for. I feel gratitude for. I feel. And I would switch those up because feeling is believing, and anything you tie after I am, your brain starts to believe. And this takes time. You need to remember that you are where you are because of your thinking. It is stinking thinking that creates resentment, and resentment is the number one reason that people have debt, okay? And so as you're practicing gratitude, you want to commit to this every single day. Now, whether you're an entrepreneur or you're an employee, it doesn't matter. I know entrepreneurs whose businesses do millions of dollars and they're still living paycheck to paycheck. So one slip up could default them, right? And so it's the same no matter what amount of money you're trying to call in. We have to release the resentment, and we do that by practicing gratitude and practicing forgiveness. Now, forgiveness, I would invite you to do, look for meditations on letting go. The 6 phase meditation from Vishen Lakhani is so powerful and potent because it brings in gratitude, it brings in blessings, it brings in visualization, and it brings in forgiveness all in one program. And that's like 20 minutes, or one free YouTube video that's like 20 minutes. So I encourage you to play with that because it's that repetition. You might have to do forgiveness with one person on one situation 20 times before your subconscious mind actually releases it. Okay? And so the repetition is where it's at. You have to stay with the course of changing the way you operate, changing the way you see things, and changing, anything that is creating attachments to you. And that is, any resentments, any anger, any shame, any blame. So release those things with practicing gratitude and practicing forgiveness. Now, where the magic comes is giving 100% of your heart to whatever you're doing. Now, I don't care if you work at Walmart, if you're caregiving, if you're a delivery driver, if you're a high-level CEO, okay? Whatever you're doing, do it with care, do it with love. And this goes way back to the science of Getting Rich by Wallace Wattles. Anything you do wholeheartedly puts you in a frequency where you'll start seeing things come together. You'll start attracting the people and the situations and the jobs and the opportunities that allow you to ascend. But it comes from giving whatever you're doing 100%. Now, if you are struggling and you don't have a job and you have a business, I highly recommend, doing something that you love, and even if it's just a little bit of money, right? And so I've done this where I, took a caretaking job because, yes, it paid like crap, but I was able to be in a frequency of care and compassion for a period of the day, right? Something part-time so I could still build my business. But you get to make a positive impact, and everything we put out comes back to us. So if we're doing it with 100% wholeheartedness, in a state of care and compassion for someone else, and we're bettering other people's lives, well, then the karma that comes back from that is powerful. It is potent. And so it's really important, if you're doing a job where you absolutely hate it and there's nothing good about it, then I invite you to start looking for another job ASAP, because you're creating negative karma every time you go in there. You're creating negative karma every time you complain about it. You're creating negative karma every time you engage in the drama that is. And so you have to remove yourself. So find another job. If there's really nothing that you can do within the context of what you're already doing, then you got to switch it up. Because you cannot be in a creative state if you are full of judgment, shame, blame, anger, resentment. It's just not possible. And so you have to be able to receive the downloads that are just literally at the tip of your crown, waiting for you to allow them in. And this is where it gets a little rough, because wherever you are there because of yourself. And yes, I say this as someone who has been in the lows of lows and been in the highs of highs. And so it's really jarring when you watch yourself build $1 million and then lose everything, right? Because you know what you're capable of, but so many people haven't done that yet. And so they have no idea that they have $1 million ideas that better the world, that are waiting to come through you, but you have to be in a vibrational alignment to hear it and to be able to take the divine inspired action towards it. Of course, whatever you're being called to do is going to be way bigger than you are at the moment. And so in order to believe in yourself, you gotta have a positive mindset, and you gotta release and forgive anything that is holding you back. And because here's the thing, you cannot be a victim and be a victor at the same time. And you get to choose, no matter what people did to you. I'm telling you, man, when I started writing my book, right, I put a 6-figure investment into the publishing and editing process. And my publishers are freaking amazing. Love them from day one. The editor, on the other hand, was just not in alignment. And she, made things really hard for me. Every time I got the book back, I found she changed words that brought out judgment and shame to either me or my mother. And then I went into this phase where, I was being attacked by my son. And, anyone that's been abused knows that you can't really use your brain when you're being attacked every day. Your brain kind of shuts down, right? And so even though I invested so much money in her, she dropped me because of the time it took for me to finish. And so, yes, I was angry. Yes, I felt like a victim. But I chose to reframe it in that moment. I chose to forgive her. There's times where anger still comes up, right? And I have to consciously release it and let it go, because again, you can't be a victim and a victor. And when you have a big mission, things are going to come at you on your way to it, to test you, to forge, so that you can develop the strength and the discipline, right? To keep going forward no matter what happens, no matter what's supporting you, and whether or not you know how to edit, because Lord knows I do not know how to edit. Like, grammar is not a strong suit for me, right? And so thank God I found, I had a really good friend who was great at editing, and she just jumped in and helped me. I am so grateful for Karen Q, because without her, it would have been really hard. But keep in mind, if I would have stayed in anger with that editor that kind of screwed me, then I wouldn't have been open to the blessing of Karen, right? I would have been looking down, I would have been lower vibrational, not able to receive any ideas for how to move forward. And so it does not matter what happened. You know, a year ago, I escaped from an abusive relationship. He was emotionally abusive. And when I moved in with him, I found out he had abused his wife, right? Actually put her in the hospital, like brutally abused her. And so I was terrified, and I, prayed for a new place, and right away I got a call like an hour after I prayed with the prayer chaplain, and this guy offered me a place. Now, mind you, he ended up sexually assaulting me. He stole my car, and I had nothing at the time, right? And the minute I got my car and I got to safety, I started practicing forgiveness. Not because he deserved it, right? But because there was no way in heck I was going to carry in this resentment, this anger, this frustration into 2025. This happened back around Thanksgiving. And so I'm telling you this as someone who has forgiven all of my abusers. I have been abused by many, many people. I don't know, you look at my gene keys, and of course there's a lot of chaos and different challenges that were predetermined in my life, and I was born into a really chaotic environment where sexual abuse was normalized across many generations, uncles, cousins, siblings, so much. It was just over. I just thought that the world was just a really horrible place as a young kid, and I didn't want to have kids, right? Because of that, I didn't want anyone to come in and experience the pain that I was living, not realizing that that was just my reality, right? I was too young to know that. But what I'm telling you is no matter what you've been through, no matter who's neglected you, everyone in my family has abandoned me, and then most of my family is now dead. And so, it doesn't matter what the sore is. We forgive for ourselves, for our purity, for our light, because if we're holding on to any of those things, it's like an armor of darkness that doesn't let our light out. We have to uncover it. We have to find the gift in everything that we've been through. And some of us have been through literal hell, right? But if you've been through a lot of darkness, what that means is that you are being germinated on a regular basis. That means that you have a beautiful opportunity to help a ton of people tremendously, right? But it requires you to be a victor, okay? So with that said, if you're starting from ground zero, what the most important thing to do is to rewire your brain for positivity, write out your gratitude, write out who you forgive, and release it. Release it. And from there, whatever you're doing, whether you're cleaning your house or you're a stay-at-home mom or you are a caretaker or whatever you're doing, give it 100%. And be open to those divine ideas and take action when you get them. Knowing that if you get an idea that you think is too big for you, it's because God is going to fill you and basically fulfill the prophecy through you. All you have to do is align and be in a coherent state, and God will work through you step by step, every step of the way. So don't be afraid of your mission. I know it's our natural inclination to be afraid of our mission, but it's only because it's different, and different seems scary. When you do something new, it's naturally a little scary, but we walk through the fire, shaken or not, with a freaking smile on our face, because the more we embrace it, the more we have fun, then the more people we're going to help, and the more coherently we're going to bring about the change that we were designed to do. So thank you so much for listening. Happy New Year, Year of the Horse. I'm so ready to have the biggest, funnest, most playful, joy-filled year ever. I hope you do too. You can start at ground zero, or you can start wherever you are and get to wherever you're going completely by yourself. But if you want someone to support you and to encourage you and to see the divinity in you and to see and hold that high, hold you in that high visualization and help support you along the way, I'm your girl. I am so ready to support, and thank you so much for your time. Many blessings to you and all that you do.